Hi, Cinebuzzers, fellow
Cheers.
Cinebrothers, Cinebuzzers. Cinebuzzers. That's
Not
what the official.
Cinebuzzards.
Not buzzards, buzzers. So, I'm doing something right now I didn't think I was going to do. It's kind of alarming, and it's way outside my comfort zone, and that is to watch Titanic. So if
Just
you're like,
watch it.
what? Why? Well, I'm not a big fan of Titanic.
I saw it once, and that was
I saw it once, and then it's like a lot of things where it's like you see bits and pieces, so you think you've seen it like 100 times, and I know why it's popular, but it just isn't popular with me.
But who knows what's going to happen?
But who knows?
You've mentioned that before, that certain other films
Yeah.
that you were okay with, and then the more you saw them, the more
This is true.
the better it was. Like
This is
for
true.
me, Star Trek was one of those because I was such a fan of the old series that the new one was a total new thing. But
Right.
I also I gave it a chance, and the more I saw it, the more I liked it. So,
But you know what? I've never been on a sinking ship, and I don't have any kind of like trauma that goes along with
which
it.
is a good thing.
I'm not sure. I haven't been on like a Titanic disaster, so to speak.
I've never been on a sinking ship too, though I have been in train wreck relationships.
Well, what I'm saying is we'll have to watch a train wreck movie then, see if you get triggered. Now, what I'm saying is that if I was on a sinking ship, then maybe this would be a tough movie for me.
Oh, right, I see.
That's why. Oh, it makes me not like it.
Post-traumatic.
Yeah, traumatic.
Stress. Yeah.
Right, which is not the case. So anyway, we're sitting down. We have our drinks. I started a little early. Wolfman had a burger I recommended to him. How was it?
It was good. It was
Yeah.
like outrageously good to the point of like I felt like I could get a cardiac arrest.
Yeah, it's like a legit burger, and it's from
but I have to
Wendy's.
say
So,
that, I'm glad I ate it. Thank you for suggesting
Yeah.
that. It was wonderful. At the same time, I think I'd probably go for their regular one.
a little too much.
Yeah,
This one was much.
yeah.
But you'll probably start thinking about that burger
Right.
when you're
It's
really
just
hungry. Right now,
so
you're not
tough.
hungry,
No,
so you're like,
totally not.
that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
But you're going to be like hankering one night.
And
You're
that-
going to
yeah,
have.
that's cool.
You're going to have a little bit of.
Sometimes I crave
a
Jack
little-
in the Box tacos. You're gonna have to bleep that out.
That's when you're like constipated.
Well, actually, that's just a good like hangover, or not like, at the end of a drink.
Yeah.
At the end of watching a movie.
I think you're probably going to be taking the reefer one night, and like the kids say, and you're going to be like really craving that burger.
Okay.
That's where it's going to be. You're
Yeah,
like,
that
you
would
don't
be
care.
it, right?
You're going to be really hungry, and you're going to be toking on that reefer cigarette, and you're going to be like, that's all I want.
Right. I'm on board for that.
Yeah. So I'll keep you posted if that's what happens. But get a drink.
You want some?
I'm okay. All right, so we started Titanic, but I had to stop it because they just arrived. Well, first of all, the old bat goes back to Titanic, and she knows she has this heart diamond, like in her luggage, right? So if she would have gone through, customs, this movie would have been over already, right? But she could
I don't think
decide.
it's illegal to take it.
Well, he would know she had it, though. Maybe, right?
Well, he's not customs. But I get you.
Yeah. So, all right. So she knows she has a diamond, but she's playing this whole. Let me take you through this whole journey, even though you've obviously spent $1 billion trying to find this diamond. But I'm not going to tell you that it's in my, briefcase. It's not tucked into my underwear somewhere. All right. So now we're at the Titanic, beautiful ship and all that jazz. They pull up, and the beautiful Billy Zane comes out. And he's all charismatic. He's like,
It's the eyebrows.
I'm so excited to be here. I'll have tons of freaking money, and it's where everyone else is poor. I'm going to take care of you. And Rose is like, this. What kind of fucking ship is this? This ship sucks.
It doesn't look any bigger than the Mauritania.
You can be blasé about some things, Rose, but not about Titanic. It's over 100 feet longer than Mauritania, and far more luxurious.
Right. Not exactly a match made in heaven.
Yeah, and he's all charismatic, and she's so
Billy
boring.
Zane, the beautiful.
Billy Zane
It's 'cause of
is
the
a
eyebrows,
handsome
right?
man.
It's the eyebrows. It's the man.
Well, we'll get into that more later.
Okay.
I've only reserved my man crush for one man, and that's Tom Selleck.
Oh, I think.
It's not. Some of it's not as horrible as I remember. It's entertaining, probably because we're making fun of it as I watch it and I'm drinking. So
Yeah, it's very.
But
entertaining.
we're at a point now where Jack busts. He's trying to bust into where they're having that church, right? It was the day after Rose was dancing with him down below decks in third class.
Right. Billy Zane attacked the table.
Billy Zane attacked the table, which makes him a hobo person. So I think that's where they one of my biggest problems is that they paint Billy Zane to be some sort of abuser when he clearly says to her, like, Rose, like, what does he say? Help me, let me in, or something like that, right? Like he wants her to love him and he wants to be good to her. But then, you know, he's an upper class guy, and all of a sudden his woman is dancing with third class men by herself and drinking.
Zane's character is a complete stuck up for sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, she is his fiance. She didn't have to say yes, even though she feels like she did. Okay, yeah, drama. But
right.
But at the same time, she is his fiance, and she keeps on kind of badgering him too. So
I think he's giving her a little too much slack, if you ask me. But then now all of a sudden, for some reason, the next day, Jack
feels the need to interrupt.
Yeah, he's just like desperate. I gotta get into this. I gotta get into this church and see Rose. Like, why? It didn't make any sense. Like, why did we jump from the scene where they were dancing to that? Like, there was no segue into that. Why he would think there was some sort of sense of urgency. So now he steals a bowler, which I think is punishable by death.
And a coat. So double death. So
he can look like he's first class. Then he grabs Rose. After now she's feeling good about her marriage because her mom's made it clear under no uncertain terms that if she doesn't marry this guy who's good to her,
she's gonna have to get a job.
He might abuse tables, but I'm sure they live near an IKEA, that she's going to have to be a seamstress, which is horrible because she'd have to work. So now he grabs Rose from this little tour they're having, and he pulls her into another room, and he's convincing her that she doesn't love this guy, even though she says she does, and that she's a brat, but underneath that, she's this wonderful woman. I'm not quite sure why.
He's
knew her for like 24 hours, maybe. So I'm not quite sure. Now he's confusing her. So I'm kind of thinking that Jack is actually sort of like the bad guy. Like, he's manipulating her. It's kind of like, what's that syndrome that Patty Hearst or Stockholm syndrome, where she's just like, oh, you're amazing. Everything you say must be true, and I must be miserable and not in love, and we should go live under a bridge while you do charcoal drawings of one-legged hookers.
And we were just talking also, and comparing this to other kind of back in the age of epic historical films like Dr. Zhivago, David Lean's Dr. Zhivago, and Lawrence of Arabia, is that I think one of the gripes you could have with this movie is that it focuses a little too much on just the romance.
Yeah.
It's like in those other films, yes, it was about the character, but the character was immersed in the situation of the history that was going on. But this is, you're really focused on this
romance
Romeo
romp,
and
that's all it is, yeah.
Yeah, this Romeo and Juliet thing first.
And they're making like the whole idea of the Titanic and what's about to happen to these people seems sort of romantic, I guess. Because, they're like, oh, you don't have enough lifeboats, for some reason, she says. And he's like, the guy who designed it's like, oh, Rose, you don't miss a thing, but this will never sink. Ha ha ha. And it's like, oh, wow, yeah, it is. That seems a little insensitive.
Right. And going back to the David Lean comment, even so, I want to at least give it credit for trying to at least come close to being that, because they just don't make movies like that anymore.
Kudos for the attempt, I guess. So, what is it? What is that when you participate and you get a reward for it?
Oh, you mean like consolation?
Consolation. Like a participation award or something like that.
Okay.
So this movie does get a participation award, definitely. But it was written by what seems to be a 13-year-old. Makes no sense. And someone who's completely detached from reality, because this movie is definitely not meant for people who have actually experienced anything in the real world. But that's my opinion.